stream, sadly, but now we are back. We are going to rest. Most definitely. Because this seems like one of the final fights. Whoa, Paul. That's fine. Oh, we don't have that much corruption. We can rest another time. That's kinda goated, actually. Okay. So we'll go to the door. And we'll start buffing. Okay. Now we can try for real.
This is where a researcher. You're so adept at. Yes, you have seen a. How strange. You are. When I watched you. If a hypothesis, it will kill me eventually. The tearing of the and it's finally time to end. Asking me death is. I promise.
Don't hold back.
Awesome. Okay, let's see what we dispelled. True Seeing, Death Ward, she still has Onoliora and Echolocation and Barkskin. We dispelled Foresight, but not Freedom of Movement. Mind Blank, Cemental, Resist Sonic, Resist Acid, Ace, Shield, Replacement. But we dispelled heroism, winds of vengeance, resist fire, resist cold. Okay, yeah, that was a pretty good dispelling.
Strike!
Now she has 78. Oh, cause she was she flat-footed? I can't tell. I can't tell. Oh, okay. Did I have still point blank? I don't think I had point blank, right? No, I did not. So I'm too far away.
Prepare yourself!
Not great. Okay, let's go again. Freedom of movement is dispelled. Echolocation, unholy aura, ace, shield, ice body, resist electricity, resist sonic. Yo, that was a great one.
You should have run.
Da 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 da.
Desna, guide my hand. Disappear.
Why does she keep healing for like all of her HP? Okay. I guess you just have to kill her like it's timed or something.
I never thought that I would be responsible for the creation of my most powerful enemy.
I can see you, shoot yours. Show yourself.
I've been waiting for you to get distracted so I can stab you in the back.
I have uncovered your plan. The spell in these chambers, they are designed to kill you if something goes wrong. You've been preparing for this outcome from the start. Am I right?
How very perceptive. But you didn't think I would make it easy, did you? I won't let you win. You need me alive. You want to use me to close the wound, but I can destroy myself before you have a chance. Fine. Let's say I don't destroy myself. What happens now? stronger than I could have anticipated. As your creator, I should be proud to be defeated by the one I have imbued with power. Is there any higher praise? But I'm tired. You won't hear me pleading. Let us finish this experiment here and now.
I'm not going to sacrifice
Then
you.
what are you going to do? Sacrifice your own life to seal the wound? Just turn around and leave?
We can do the Lich thing, give the phylactery. Do we do that? I guess we do. Okay. Alright, I guess that's the ending. Well, let us see. Life and death, destiny and great deeds, answers to mysteries, the search for one's true path. The mind can comprehend all of these, and then such concept can be written down as a sequence of formulas, a series of lines, a chain of thoughts. Still, a moment always comes when it is time to wrap up, to reach a conclusion, to put a period at the end of the last sentence. The impossible rift, the bleeding wound that had tormented all of Galarian for 100 years, was finally healed. By sacrificing his soul, which he had placed in the phylactery, the commander severed the last ties that bound him to his mortal past. The goddess Urgatora looked upon all this favorably and filled the void left by the forfeit soul with her dark wisdom. And in that darkness, the commander saw what the Pallid Princess had planned for him. To become the leader that would march the Undead Legion to storm Pharasma's realm. The time of the inevitable rebellion was rapidly approaching. After the Battle of Threshold, the commander did not stay long in the lands of the Fifth Crusade had been waged. A new destiny and a new journey awaited him. The former lands of the World Wound became a realm of death. The Dark Tower of Dresden enticed many who yearned for a taste of the forbidden knowledge. Undead Legion safeguarded the Necromancers, who spat on Pharasma's taboo as they delved into the mystery of death. Each of them sought to follow the commander's footstep, to throw off the chain of mortality and find eternal undeath. The memory of Tar Buffoon and his deeds faded, and the shadow of a new, far more terrifying evil fell upon Avistan. When the commander butchered the defiant crusaders in Dresden, it did not go unnoticed. The Knight of Ozem called upon every Galarian nation to join them in a shining crusade against a new threat, but the few rulers answered the summon. Memories of that horrific massacres were still too fresh in their minds. The short-tempered Lich Zacharias did not depart Dresden as he had intended. His respect for the commander compelled him to change his plan, and the Crusade leader's former mentor took on the task of instructing the novice who were flocking to the fortress. His training produced a great many talented mage, almost as many as he killed for insufficient diligence in his studies. Although the commander became a symbol of the Fifth Crusade, there were still those amongst the Crusaders who were dissatisfied with the decisions. Years later, their words served as a basis of many alternate versions of the history of the struggle against the World Wound. With the conclusion of the war, Dresden, the heroic fortress of the Crusaders, began to wane in importance. The memories of the gruesome battle faded. The deeds of the brave were forgotten. A mere century later, Dresden had once again become just another Northern garrison, and the legacy of the Fifth Crusade began to slip into obscurity. The Dresden fortress was abandoned, and the redoubtable headquarters of the commander's followers was relocated to Threshold. After the Battle of Threshold, Queen Galfrey vanished. Some claimed that she had seen in the wastes around his. Some others told story about her being held against her will in the dungeons of Dresden. The ward stones from the chain that once guarded the border of Mendev were carefully disassembled. One by one, the angel that had been trapped inside returned to heaven, to heal their wounds, spirits, and prepare for a new battle against evil. The victory of the World Rune changed many things, not just on Golarion, but in the Midnight Isles as well. Nocticula spent many days pondering the words of a certain young and fearless prophet. Before long, the Lady in Shadow openly renounced her realm and named herself the Redeemer Queen. This revolt against her own demonic nature transformed Nocticula, severed her ties to the Abyss, and brought her to Elysium. There, upon creating a realm named Midnight's Palette, the Redeemer Queen attained divine powers and became the patroness of exiles. The now vacant throne was instantly seized by Shamira, the Ardent Dream. However, her power could not compare to the might of the Lady in Shadow. The Midnight Isles, which had become tempting prize for many demons, were plunged into chaos. Wow, so she became an Azata? That's really funny. The commander separated his victory over Arashgakal. Little did he know that some demon lords go as far as forfeiting their own life to achieve their end. The mask of the inscrutable Arashgakal remained on the possession of the commanders of the 5th Crusade until the very end. He refused to or could not find the strength to discard that sinister item, and shortly after the Battle of Threshold, he began disappearing for days at a time, then suddenly returning, unable to recall what had happened to him. The Demon Lord Baphomet suffered a defeat, the World Rune was closed, and the convenient passage to Golarion was sealed. Along with it, Baphomet shifted his attention to the realm of the other Demon Lords. A cell of the Templars of the Ivory Labyrinth was soon discovered in Alushinria. The Demon Lord Discari suffered a defeat. He bided his time, continuing to plot his invasion of Golarion, and after that, of Heaven itself. The cultists remained on Golarion, went mad one after another, tortured by the nightmarish dreams their lord sent them. Having rediscovered his own story, the storyteller rejected the goddess's proposal. He was celebrated as a great historian and rightfully held the position of Dean of the History faculty at the Arcanum, the most renowned academy in Absalom. Another 40 years passed before his age caught up with him, and it was his turn to appear before the Lady of the Grave. Once the war had ended, Camellia grew bored and irritable. Shortly afterward, on a moonless night, she vanished. That event was preceded by a futile attempt to drive a dagger into the former's commander's heart. About a month later, an assassin by the name of Marina arrived in Varicia. She had a few things in common with the missing woman, apart from a fondness for cutting the hearts out of her victims. Wenduag became the queen of the mongrel, and in so doing, assumed her rightful place among her people. She gave her rugged brethren a place to settle, a patch of the untamed waste taken back from the demons. In time, those parts were named the Southlands, in remembrance of the sweat and blood paid by the young nations at the dawn of its existence. Thanks to the firm and determined ruler, the mongrel race survived their first perilous years of trial and hardship, to forge a great future for themselves. After the victory, Ember simply sat for a long time, staring at the tongues of flame dancing in her hands. Her new power frightened her, and the awestruck redeemed were ready to hang on every word, and frightened her even more. She left without saying goodbye to anyone and continued her endless wayfaring along the roads of Golarion, helping the distressed and punishing evildoers. Many worshipped her as a saint, but she would always respond with, "Please, I'm just an ordinary girl." Soon after the war, the tireless researcher of all things researchable embarked on a journey. She had a sudden urge to know how much time it would take to visit every nation on Golarion. She returned after a year and a half with a pile of notes, which she promptly handed to over to her assistants. After all, someone had to help her compile the entries of her first volume of the Encyclopedia Golaronica. It only made sense for her assistant to help, given that one of the entries was dedicated to him, the commander of the Fifth Crusade, who had made Golarian's history. There Arende embraced his new life, one that was free of the other. He became more mature, his smile grew colder, and his choice of diversion more elaborate. He even acquired Impervious Streak. Inquisitor Leord blood seemed to have the darkness into Darren's soul, or had it always dwelt there? Whatever the case, in the darkness, he was free and happy, as never before. They say that some of Darren's disappearances stemmed from another affair, but his adventure with the commander. Blah blah. Woljif was up tempted by the laurels of a war hero, for his true heritage awaited him in the abyss. After saying his farewell to the chief, the former tiefling went to Alexandria to claim what was his by right. His vast experience in shady dealings meant that Woljif was in his element. He became the best fence and fixer in the city. He always knew where to find reliable assassins, and next shipment artifact would arrive from Golarion, in which aristocrats were planning a coup for his month. Rigel de Renge wrote a treatise on waging war against the demons, both a practical manual and a philosophical exhortation. And once that was done, he succumbed to the bleaching completely. He was posthumously reinstated in his order and buried with honors in the officers' cemetery. His treatise was used in all future war against the abyss by mortals, angels, and devils alike. Before he died, he managed to send a letter to the commander. Did it contain sincere farewell or a list of directive? Impossible to say. No one was privy to the content except the recipient. After the war, Gribor went off on his personal conquest. He traveled to Alushinria and killed 4 candidates for the position of the head of the Assassin's Guild, whereupon he rightfully took the position himself and became preeminent figure in the Midnight Isles. Under his leadership, the guild prospered, and a dozen of many planes would shudder whenever they heard the innocent phrase, "sweet dreams." Arushale had changed her nature, completely ridding herself of evil. But she would not dare to live amongst mortals. She took up a residence in a small house away from their settlement. Shortly afterward, rumors began to spread. Some said that was a kind of sorceress living in the cottage, or perhaps a reclusive saint, and people would come to her asking for help. She never refused anyone, and in time she earned their trust and friendship. Dope.
And what of me, the writer of these words? The half-demon witch known as the architect of the world wound. I was defeated. The victor spared my life in a gesture that was not quite a boon, not quite charity. I was left without hope, without a chance of finding a purpose again. I lived out my remaining days in an isolated cottage, far from everyone, needed by none, discovered by none. I have recounted the story of my life for you, Pharasma, Lady of Graves. Not only of my life, but of the commander's also. I believe the tale of such an illustrious figure would pique even a goddess's curiosity. Now you know everything. I await your verdict, goddess.
Silence hangs over the boneyard. The Lady of the Graves is weighing her decision, and it seems the entire universe is holding its breath, awaiting her pronouncement. Who would dare to break a silence so absolute? Your awareness touches the boneyard, but it collides with an insurmountable obstacle, the will of the Lady of the Grave.
Urgathoa's servants are not welcome in my halls. Begone, and never dare appear here again. As for you, Arilu Vorlesh, you wrought great evil. while it stemmed from the evil that was done to you, your actions far exceeded it. Your soul is dark, and there is only one place for you in the universe. I shall send you to the abyss, plane of pain and fury, suffering and privation. That which you have done to others will now be done to you. So be it.
Rip Aurilu. The end. Wow. What a game. Surely, what a game. Now, I could go for more endings, obviously, and I probably will. In the future, I'll probably do at least a demon playthrough and at least a swarm playthrough. What does that mean? Well, I'll still be playing this game for a bit, for sure. But right now I'll just let it settle in. It has been quite a journey. Thank you everyone who watched it. And I'll see you guys next time. It's kind of incredible that this game exists. I'll take a moment to just collect my thoughts. For sure. Because this game was a lot. This game was definitely a lot. In the next days, I'll probably release a review of the ending, a review of the game, and a review of what, like, basically I'll release a review spoiler-free, and a review of specifically the endings. So the people who played it can share their thoughts with me. Yeah. Goddamn, this game is insane. This game is insane. They really done it, and from now on I will literally hold every game accountable for as much as I held this game accountable. Because while there were some bugs, and bugs they were, while not everything was clear, while the interface and the mechanics were really complicated, god damn, it probably was the best RPG I've played in years. With that being said, I'll see you guys off. Have a good one. Stay safe. May you wander in peace. Whatever. Because holy shit, after like 110 episode-ish, something like that, we finally finished the Lich playthrough of Pathfinder, Wrath of the Righteous. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.